What's up? Happy Tuesday, yo. How is everyone? I want to turn on my comments so everybody can chat with me. I'm going to try not to say so much this time. I rewatched my broadcast last time. I'm like the queen. Anyway, kidding. All right, let's talk about judgment today, self-judgment, and then I'm going to go into what the actual topic is, but that's what I want to preface with. Oh man, who struggles with self-judgment? I think we all do. It has been an issue that I have struggled with my entire life. And this is something that we all struggle with. And when I realized that encountering judgments outside of myself was actually just a reflection of what was inside of me, I really claimed my power and was able to shift my world immensely. Don't say James is sitting right here with me, kind of clicking around. So you might hear that in the background. Highly distracting, just saying, highly distracting, but we'll work through these things. Okay. So I'm going to get specific for you on this broadcast. I am a single mom, and the relationship that I was in for 15 years was constantly judging myself, constantly feeling judged, never feeling like enough. And I always bring this back around to sports eventually, but we're just going to start personal here. There are so many people in this world, parents, like stay-at-home moms, in our job role, like we struggle with feeling like we are enough. I grew up feeling like I wasn't smart enough. Did you feel like you weren't smart enough growing up? And this is the way that the traditional education system can make us feel, is that we're not smart enough. Even if we're getting straight A's, it's like the nature of the system, whether it's educational or the world in general, the matrix, is to point at you and tell you what you're doing wrong. We don't tell each other what we're doing right. We make lists of what we're doing wrong. We make lists of what we need to do, when really we should be at least stepping back every once in a while and making a list of all the shit that we've done right recently and all of the things that we have accomplished, and like giving ourselves stars instead of X's. And that is just not in the nature of the matrix. They're always telling us what we're doing wrong, and that sucks. But know that you can claim your power. You can shift this and know fully that you are a supernatural genius. And so this is what I've decided to claim recently. I'm a fucking supernatural genius. I can do anything. I don't have to conform to the world around me. I've never been a conformist. I've always been like the outlier. I've always been the one who kind of spoke up. And I said it. That may be you, but it may not be you. And if you have been the person that kind of goes with the flow and just conforms, that's okay too. I'm not judging you. Judgment's not my jam. But I choose to do things differently. And the person that I co-parent with does not choose to do things differently. And I always felt like I was doing something wrong, that I was not being authentic, that I was not doing right by my children for years, because he was on one side of the fence and I was on the other side of the fence. And the difference is there are more people on his side of the fence than there were on mine. And so I felt like I was kind of over here alone doing things differently. And I always felt like I had to explain myself. Do you feel like you have to explain yourself to the world around you? I'm going to tell you something. When you decide you don't give two fucks what other people think and that you don't have to explain yourself anymore, the world opens up to you, because that is when you claim your sovereignty. That is when you claim from within that you have the power and that it doesn't matter what they think, that you're going to stand and claim your truth. And then what happens is, because you feel it in here, the whole world has to reflect it with you in the most profound, amazing ways. So I'm going to tell you about my recent journey that started. I'm homeschooling my 3 kids. We have found an online program that is amazing. And this is something that I was absolutely terrified to step into, not only because of the co-parent, but because of societal expectations, and because it was a huge step for me. It was a huge stand that I had to take for myself to really stand in my power and claim my truth and really know that I was living from my heart and absolutely doing the best thing for my children, not for your children, right? I'm not judging you. If you're in the traditional system, it's all good, zero judgment. But for my children, I wanted them to be at home, because I do not like the way that things are going currently in the system. And I don't like all of this mystery around the big C word. I'm not even going to say the word. I don't want to be like shadowed on any platform. Nikki, it took me 60 plus years to realize that. You know what? It takes some of us longer than others, right? And it's an ebb and flow, but you got there, baby. And you got a lot of life ahead of you. So I applaud you for that, Nikki. Thank you for your comment. So what I did is I trusted fully that a higher power had my back, trusted fully. And I dove deep into it. And I started telling myself, all of my dreams are coming true. All of my dreams are coming true. Say this to yourself every day. And you know what will happen? You'll finally convince your subconscious of it too. And all of your dreams will start coming true. And one of my dreams was that my kids, that we could like homeschool and world school. I want to travel the world. I want to teach my kids on fucking location. But my co-parent was not on board. He has a huge stigma around homeschooling, which is just a cop-out. And so I just went with it, and I submitted to it, and I came to terms with it. And I was like, okay, well, this is how it's got to be. Well, then the mask mandate was reinstated on Monday, so yesterday. And again, no judgment. If you feel like your kids should go to school in masks, I'm all for it. If they're cool with it, I'm all for it. My kids were not okay with it. They had anxiety about it. They did not enjoy the thought of going to school in a mask, because they had to do it last year when they were doing hybrid. And given the current state of things, all my kids were in 3 different buildings, and I feel like my kids are safest at home right now at this time. We've got a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And for me, that's all that matters. My 7-year-old, my 10-year-old, and my 14-year-old are my number one priority. And I'm willing to go to fucking bat for them under any circumstances. So I had to put my big girl panties on and deal with it. And I was terrified. I have always been afraid of my co-parent judging me. I've always been afraid of that. It's been something I've carried with me my entire relationship with him. And I said no more. James, go to the table. Thank you. I said no more. Community homeschooling needs to be a new trend. Yeah, absolutely, Michael. And I have a feeling that we're going to see more of that. I am seeing so many of my friends, local and national, international, pulling their kids. I think this is going to be a new trend, really. And I feel for parents who have an office job and have to try and navigate this outside of the home. I'm super fortunate that I'm able to be at home with the kids and I'm able to homeschool them. Dan, homeschooling is not bad. Whatever works best for you and yours. Yep. Sports needs to be open to homeschool children. And you know what? This is the thing, Dan, is this program that we're doing is specifically for athletes and artists. So it's a program that I found that is slated specifically for those who play sports. I saw one particular story about a girl who's a gymnast. And so she's in the gym all the time. And so she uses this program, and there were really great reviews about it. Actually, I will post a link in the comments if anyone is interested. So, okay, back to standing in your power. And what I'm saying doesn't just apply to this singular situation. It applies to everything in life. Standing in your power and realizing that once you stop judging yourself, the world will stop judging you. Now, I'm still working through that part of it, right? Especially in this situation. But eventually, I know with every cell of my being that he will see that this is a good fit, because James wants to play travel hockey. And this is going to be much easier for him playing travel hockey. Nadia she rides horses. And this is like a sport that's like all on its own, right? If you're riding horses, you need a different setup. And Sophia is an artist and a performer. She does theater. And so now she's in a perfect position where she can take and go on the stage for paid roles because she's really good at it. And all of this can be integrated into our homeschooling process. And I know it's going to be beautiful. It's so in alignment with us. And really, it was about a conversation. It was about a conversation about me being bold and brave to have a conversation that I was absolutely terrified to have. But I meditated a lot before I had the conversation, and it was able to keep me in alignment, because when you meditate, you keep your body in homeostasis. You have it's like a level playing field you're creating for yourself, where you're never too extreme about anything. You really are in your center. My heart was not racing. My hands were not jittering. I was not sweating. My voice was not shaky. And I was not overly emotional. I was able to speak from my heart. And I approached him and I said, the mask mandate is on. I'm not okay with it. I feel like the safest place for our kids now is at home. And he was 100% not on board. But I stood my ground and I said, this is what's best for our kids, and it's going to happen. And his response was, I don't want you schooling our kids. Ooh, what's that? What is that reflection to myself? And I know exactly what it is, because first of all, I'm a fucking supernatural genius. And so are you. We are all intelligent people. This world will try to convince us, that person or that person or that person, that they're not smart because they don't get straight A's or because they don't stack up to the other person. All of us are supernatural geniuses, all of us. All you have to do is tap into it. I don't care if you got straight F's in school. You are an intelligent person. And the minute that you start to claim that is the minute that the outside world will show it to you. And so my point is, him saying that to me is still a reflection that I've got some work to do on my worthiness and my capability, my belief in that I can do this for my kids. My consciously, I can say to you, I'm smart. I've got 2 degrees and 2 licenses. I know I can do this. I was a straight A student in high school. I am intelligent. I can do this, but I've still got some work to do on my belief system, and thank you to him for reflecting that back to me, because then that'll just make me smarter too. So how can this be applied throughout other areas of our life? It really, for me, goes back to not judging yourself, not judging your others, because when you judge, you give all your power away. You give all your power away when you're judging someone, because it is a very low vibration emotion, expression is what we'll call it. And so you sink down into the low vibration state, and then you block all the good stuff out for you, and realize that your judgment of another is your judgment on yourself. Your judgment of another is always a judgment of yourself. So I am super proud of myself for standing in my power. And this was, I'm going to get kind of woo-woo here. This was like a completion of a cycle for me, because I know that this co-parent and we completed a cycle. I'll call it a karmic cycle. You can call it whatever you want. I don't always use the right terms. I just use what resonates with me intuitively. Like a karmic cycle, that we came together. All the people in your life that are difficult, you chose them. You know why you chose them? You chose them because you wanted them to teach you lessons. The most difficult people in our lives are the ones that teach us the greatest lessons. And what I found is that We kept teaching. We're teaching each other these lessons over and over and over, and it becomes exhausting and fucking comical at some point. It's like, oh my gosh, why do I keep dating the same person? Why do I keep creating the same job circumstances for myself? It's because we will keep learning the same lessons until we do something different. You have to do something differently in order to get out of that cycle. And we've been doing the same fucking thing for years and years and years and years and years. And this is what I did. When I made it about not control, when I say power, I don't mean control. That's different. I wasn't trying to control the situation from my mind. I was dropping into my heart and finding a space of full knowing that I was doing the right thing by my kids. Doing the right thing by my kids. And when you are living from your heart and fully in alignment with what you feel is 100% genuinely right for your family, no one can fuck with you. No one. The higher power, God, source, spirit has your back. And there will always be a fucking way. Always. I'm telling you, I'm not going to give you details about how this unfolded for me and how this is divinely planned and divinely timed and how everything is always working out for us. But the circumstances, it wasn't easy, but it didn't last long and it was fucking worth it. The circumstances that unfolded that he fed into, it created the perfect paper trail for me to be able to homeschool my kids. And I never would have guessed. I never would have been able to plan how that was going to unfold. But it was divinely guided and divinely timed. And the big guns have my back, which is another sign to me that I'm doing the right thing. And so know that if you're doing things differently, whether it's in the office, on the court, in your personal relationships, with schooling, like educationally, you are not alone. You are not alone. And as long as it is truly heart-centered and in alignment with your soul values, your highest soul values, you cannot go wrong. And there will always be a way. And you are a pioneer, and you are a trailblazer and a way shower. And that is huge. Absolutely huge. And really, even for those who remain within the traditional system because they don't feel like they're ready to get out, it doesn't work out for them, and that's okay. And maybe the traditional system is still mostly in alignment with them. That's okay, because the way showers, the pioneers, are the ones who are pulling the veil back. And so you may not be homeschooling your kids at this point, and you may never homeschool your kids. But those who are dipping out of the system in one way or another are pointing to the fallacies. They're pointing to the faults in the current system. And the current system cannot continue to stand if everyone leaves it. The current system will crumble. And that is what is happening. That's what's happening on a physical and an energetic level. And we will be heard and we will be seen. So we're really all doing this together. No matter what, we're all doing this together. And that's why there's never any judgment. And that's how we stand in our power, because they want to divide and conquer, right? They want to divide and conquer. And this applies, let's think about a team, think about a team sport. You know, that team that has that one guy who never wants to pass the ball, never wants to share the ball. Like, that team doesn't usually thrive. It's the team that works as a spider web. You think of the intricacies of teamwork and how it looks like this beautiful, like synchronistic flow of a spider web. They're operating as a unit. Individuals, and my fingers are the individuals, as a unit together. It's such a beautiful thing to see. And that's what we're seeing right now, collectively, with humanity, is that we are all coming together. And there's no better way to come together than sports. Sports is amazing. It's a huge reason why homeschooling for James will be really, really useful. All right. I hope that made sense and resonated with you. Thank you so much for all the comments. Michael? Oh, James wants me to tell you about our cat. And then I've gone completely crazy and we decided to get a cat. So we're going to go pick up our cat today. So next week I'll have a little black cat to show you.
Yeah, and like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we're going to
Aries.
His name is Aries, like the constellation.
But he's a Gemini, not an Aries.
But he's not an Aries. He's actually a Gemini. So that's kind of funny. All right. Have a great day. Do not forget that you're a supernatural genius, that inspiration is only born of desire. So if you are inspired to do something, do it. Someone is waiting for you. Someone is calling out to you. And I know that this transition that my family has made, I made this to support those who are thinking about it. And this is why I talk about it. There are lots of people thinking about this transition and considering it. And I'm not imposing this belief on anyone because that's not how I roll. What I'm doing is saying there is another way. And if you feel like you want to step into another way, you're not the only one. You're not alone. And you can stand in your power and work in a different way and step out of the system. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And even if you're in a situation where it doesn't seem like it would ever work out because of your finances or because of your jobs, I guarantee you, if you start meditating and going silent and reaching out, a way will be delivered to you. It must. I'm telling you, anything is possible. I am living proof that anything is possible. I'm a single mom of 3 that was in a broken ass marriage, living in the hood. And now I am an empowered single mom of 3. I don't say that with fear or shame or intimidation or uncertainty anymore. I am a single mom, kick-ass mom of 3, living in a very nice house, doing it on my own. And I created all of this, me and yo. Anything is possible. Anything. You are a supernatural genius. You can achieve anything that you want. Have an amazing day. Hold on. I love y'all so much.
What does this mean?